He could have also done this because this was just slashing the house of his enemy in two. Minato thanks them for saving him and then returns to his house. The next day, Haruma visits Minato to thank him for helping him and gives him a bag full of sweets. Minato asks him to join them for barbecue party, but Haruma refuses because he has PTSD from how angry Yama was furious last time. Minato then goes inside where everyone is enjoying the barbecue and Yama is eating sweets instead. Minato tells them that Haruma has given them some sweets and everyone gets excited to eat them instead. Reiki and Oryu are busy drinking while Reijin and Fujin are soaking in the hot springs. Minato brings some cold booze for them to enjoy while they enjoy a hot bath and Kirin watches them timidly from a distance. Minato notices him and says that he has got beer too, and the timid holy beast finally gathers up courage because no self-respecting dude says no to beer. He rolls a durian fruit towards Minato as a gift and he picks it up out of curiosity. However, Reiki appears there just then and kicks the fruit away with his full power. Kirin is hurt by that and Reiki tells him that he already said not to bring such garbage inside a sacred ground. Kirin yells that it is durian, a respectable fruit, and kicks it back at him. Reiki kicks it again, but Kirin is also a pro at volleyball, so he hits it back. Suddenly, Oryu joins the match and punches the durian away, but then he starts whining that now his hands are going to smell foul. Minato laughs at this and then sees the leaves of the camphor tree falling. He thanks the tree for helping him in the desperate situation, when suddenly, the minions call him because the orb is glowing. It suddenly transforms into a baby chicken and Yama tells him that it is the last of the 4 holy beasts, the phoenix. Minato is glad to see the phoenix and welcomes him to his house, and the phoenix is very happy to be there as well. A few days later, Minato brings some fusion desserts for Yama, who suddenly starts speaking English after eating a combination of strawberry and red bean paste. Minato is thankful for the maker of the dessert that got a mountain god so happy, but then his attention goes to the phoenix who has already become the king of the birds. He asks Yama to translate what the birds are talking about, and the wolf god replies that the phoenix is teaching the birds how to chirp properly. Duolingo Owl's pink cousin gives the birds detailed lessons about controlling their pitch and voice throw, and it's a miracle that some of the birds are able to do as he says and let out a decent chirp. The last one fails miserably and gives Phoenix an aneurysm in his kidney. Minato enjoys the entire exchange because he doesn't understand bird and enjoys the peaceful spring in his garden with gods chilling all around him, all unaware of a hole in space and time above the town. At the same time, Haruma is not happy about spring because springtime brings forth a lot of minor evil spirits that need to be exorcised. He works with his partner who summons a shark and a penguin who eat evil spirits, but just as they finish one job, Haruma gets a message about another one. The next day, Minato goes shopping, and just as he is about to return home, everyone starts paying him a lot of attention. They call him the Bird Whisperer and Batman's third copy, Pigeon Boy, because he is surrounded by all sorts of birds. Minato freaks out at this and decides to take his leave from the area immediately. He tells Phoenix that this happens every time they go out together, and the little bird affirms. Just then, Minato runs into the local gardener who has turned a garden hedge into creepy-faced mascots. Minato greets him and asks the reason behind turning this hedge into something so weird, and the gardener replies that the owner of the house told him to let his creativity shine. He then remarks that ever since he worked at Minato's garden, he has been on a roll, and physically too. He feels better than ever. Suddenly, a bunch of pigeons sit on the grass statues and Minato dashes away before the pigeons color the gardener's hard work white. Back at home, Yama notices something strange and instantly, his minions come to warn him that a lot of abandoned divine realms are opening up in the mountains and Minato is not yet home. Yama tells them that they don't need to worry as long as Daddy's home. He decides to handle the divine realms himself and flies towards them, with his minions following his lead. Minato is still walking back when he notices that all the birds have vanished. He is confused and curious when suddenly, Reijin and Fujin appear in front of him, telling him to rush home as soon as he can. They tell him that today is an outbreak of abandoned divine realms and evil spirits, and Minato doesn't understand the divine realms part. The gods explain to him that there are millions of gods in this world, and even more divine realms, which are sacred grounds just like his garden. Some of those divine realms are abandoned by their gods, and they pop up occasionally. Just then, a portal to one divine realm appears in the sky, and Reijin uses his thunder to seal it away. Minato is shocked to see this, and the gods tell him that these portals can appear anywhere, and sometimes humans are sucked into them. Minato understands everything now and realizes that the birds might have entered the portals as well. The gods tell him not to be so calm about the situation because he is in the most danger. They explain that his affinity with the divine elements is really high, and if he gets pulled into a divine realm, he won't get out by himself. Minato thanks them and promises to be careful, so the twin gods decide to take their leave. They tell Minato that Yama is already out, closing the portals, and go away with that. Minato is worried now, so instead of going home through the regular route, he decides to take a shortcut. On the way, he sees an old and run-down shrine that grabs his attention. Suddenly, two invisible spirits whisper in his ear that he should stay away from this place, but Minato becomes a little deaf at the exact moment and doesn't pay attention to their warning. He keeps staring at the shrine like a Dumbo when suddenly, the shrine gate opens and a portal starts sucking him inside. Minato can't resist the pull, so the phoenix decides to help him out. It jumps out of his bag and transforms into its glorious form, but that is mainly for aura farming. It runs out of power almost instantly and returns to its chick form to get swallowed into the portal alongside Minato. They wake up in a forest where moss covers the entire ground. Minato finds it hard to breathe in the divine realm, so he starts looking for an exit, but then notices a bunch of wooden boxes on the ground. He remembers that Yama once talked about how the sacred grounds reflect the mind of their creators, and it is the place they find most comfortable. Minato thinks that the creator of this place must love boxes when suddenly, he finds a giant cave in front of him. He enters the cave and finds that the air there is even more dense and prickly there. He keeps walking despite that, and soon finds a woman sleeping inside the cave. Minato panics for a bit, but then realizes that she might be the one who created this divine realm. The woman suddenly wakes up and starts complaining how poor the ventilation of her cave is, but she is too lazy to make any changes about that. Minato calls out to the lazy, unmotivated baddie and asks if she is the god who created this divine realm. The woman affirms and then asks what is a human doing here. She then notices Phoenix in Minato's fanny pack and gets even more confused. She once again asks Minato if he is lost because she didn't call him here. He replies that a lot of portals to abandoned divine realms have opened up on Earth, and the goddess is offended on hearing this because she hasn't abandoned her home. Suddenly, she realizes that her power must have grown weak, and Minato affirms, saying that her shrine was uncared for. The goddess sighs on seeing that, but she doesn't really care too much about people worshipping her. She suddenly notices that Minato has Fujin's power and asks him if he can ventilate the cave for her. He is taken aback at the request, but then he learns that the goddess has not had her cave ventilated in over 1,000 years. She tells him to get to work as she goes back to sleep, and Minato asks if she will send him back home once he is done. The goddess tells him to stop pestering her because she will obviously send him back, and then suddenly, she opens a portal. Minato is happy that he gets to go home so quickly, but the goddess tells him that it is for throwing the wooden boxes. Minato doesn't ask any questions and starts using his wind power to send the boxes into the portal while the goddess just relaxes and watches him. At the same time, Yama and his minions are clearing up the abandoned divine realms that are opening up in the sky. Once they are done, Yama tells his minions that they need to rescue Minato now. The minions are surprised to hear this, but Yama tells them that a little while ago, he heard the phoenix asking for help. They get ready to find and rescue Minato when suddenly, more portals appear in the sky and they are heading towards Minato's house. Yama thinks it will be hard to deal with all of them quickly, but luckily, Fujin and Raijin appear just then and destroy the portals with their power. They offer their help and Yama is glad to have them on the team. The twin gods tell him that he can take a break if he wants, but Yama starts aura farming instead and destroys a bunch of portals with a single roar. Meanwhile, in the cave, Minato finishes chugging all the boxes into the portal, and the goddess is happy with that. However, her main complaint about the air quality of the cave remains unsolved. Minato has a quick fix for that, and he uses a bunch of camphor leaves from his garden to dispel the nasty air that had gathered inside the cave. The goddess is really impressed by this and asks Minato what those leaves were. He tells her about the sacred camphor tree in his garden, and she asks if he carries the leaves with him all the time. He affirms, saying that the leaves saved his life a little while ago, so he always keeps them with him. The goddess excitedly asks if he has more of those leaves because she wants them, and he happily gives them to her. The goddess sniffs the strong scent of one leaf, and then decides to thank Minato for his work by giving him her powers. Before he can even reply to that suggestion, the goddess points her finger at Minato's head and wirelessly transfers her power to him. Minato asks her what kind of power is it, and the goddess replies that it is the power to seal things. She explains that her power can seal things that cannot be seen, like negative feelings, troublesome desires, supernatural powers, and the rest. She says that using her power, he can seal things like those and anything he wants. Minato finally understands what all those wooden boxes were for, and the goddess affirms, saying that people pray to her to seal away their negative feelings or desires, so she locks them up in wooden boxes. She tells Minato that he doesn't have to use wooden boxes and can use anything that feels convenient to him. She even makes it clear that he doesn't have to use her power, and if he trains hard enough, he can even seal the power if he doesn't want it. The goddess gets sleepy as she says this and starts dozing off mid-sentence, causing Minato to panic. He tries to wake up the goddess because he needs to find an exit, but she is already too deep in sleep to help him. Minato wonders if it is a good idea to forcefully awaken a sleeping god when suddenly, he hears the voice of Yama's minions as they pop out of a white portal. He is delighted to see them and quickly steps out of the divine realm using the portal. The minions apologize for taking so long to rescue him because they had their hands full. They say that Minato must have been very stressed, and he replies that he was with a really old god who was lazy and unmotivated. He tells the minions that she gave him the power to seal things, and they reply that she must have been Amaterasu. Minato's socks are blown off on hearing this because Amaterasu is the sun god, one of the main gods of Japanese mythology, and he never pictured her like that. Anyway, they walk back home and Minato asks the minions how did they find him. They tell him that the phoenix's cry gave them an idea of their last location, and Minato now understands that it didn't go Super Saiyan just to Orifarm. The minions tell him to also thank the wind spirits because they guided them here. Minato is confused by this, so the minions ask him if he didn't hear anything before he was sucked inside the divine realm. He remembers the voices clearly warning him about the danger now, and the minions say that it must be hard for him to notice them right now, but he needs to focus and he will clearly see them. Minato follows their advice and focuses as hard as he can. He can hear the voices of the wind spirits telling him that they are happy that he survived. He still can't see them, but he thanks the wind spirits for helping him return from the divine realm. Soon, Minato reaches home with some sweets for everyone, and he is astonished to see that Yama has reverted to his puppy form after using up all his power. He claims that if he eats the desserts that Minato brought, he will reach his glorious form in no time. Minato remarks that he looks really adorable when he is tiny, and he is the perfect size to play with the other gods right now. Yama, however, is not pleased to hear that, and he tells Minato that he is a respected mountain god and not a puppy. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.